Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, second year students. This is lecture number 9. In this lecture we are going to talk about The Black Cat by Edgar Allan Poe. Before talking about the writer, before this story, this short story, let me explain something relating to the genre. I tell you from the beginning, the genre of this story is a gothic story. It is gothic fiction. Gothic. This story we call it gothic. But now let us understand what do we mean by gothic or gothicism. I make certain points, I summarize them for you in order to make them easy for you. In order to describe the story as being gothic story, it's supposed to have those elements, or at least some of those elements. Yani elements related to the setting, for example. The setting supposed to be old random structures, especially castles, those old castles, yani for example, black, doomy, great country manors, hidden passage, trapdoors, and yani I want you students to memorize first, to translate in order to understand those points, and then memorize them in your mind. You're supposed to have some of those elements in order to describe the story as being gothic. So in order to be the story a gothic, the setting supposed to be one of those points. It is supposed to be doom, dark, and stormy weather. Also the weather supposed to be, even the weather is also important elements in gothic stories. Sometimes it is dark, sometimes it is rainy, stormy, and so another point, it is the atmosphere. We understand the word atmosphere from first year. Atmosphere means the mood that the story creates upon the reader. When you read the story, you're supposed to feel those, and one of those feelings: mystery, horror, dread. Let us move to the other important point, that is the protagonist, the major character in the story. It's supposed to be has one of those features. Is a isolated figure, or he is alone. There is no so many people or friends surrounded him. Physical trap. Also, he is away from the civilization. He is living isolation. Also self-imposed or results of circumstances beyond his or her control. This means what? There are certain circumstances, certain certain reasons that led to his behavior. Also the plot involves hidden secrets which threaten the protagonist. The protagonist always, there is a secret, there is a puzzle in his life, and they are not delivered for the reader. Yani the reader himself is going to discover them. Also relating points relating to the emotions, relating to what damsel in distress. At this point, this is not always appeared in every story, but sometimes it appeared in the gothic stories. Some also we have forbidding, those things that are not allowed to be discovered by everyone. The decay, everything is destructed and decayed. And supernatural, this is very important point. The supernaturalism, or the things that unordinary, appears a major role in this story. Why? To focus on the idea of gothic, to convey the story for the reader, to create the the terror and horror on the part of the reader. And when you read, there is a focus on the supernaturalism, on the thing that unnatural. There is a focus by the writer, by the narrator himself, also to focus on these things in order to what? In order to convince us, to convince the reader by the story, to create the atmosphere of the horror and terror. So students, I want you to summarize those points, and we are going to discover step by step whether we found those elements in the story itself. Now, if we talk about Edgar Allan Poe, this is the writer. This writer, he is the master of Gothic stories. He is master of what detective stories. So here, let's start by talking about reading about this. The text of the story. طبعا the text you supposed read it from first word to the last word. You are responsible of reading this story. Now let us start. This is the beginning of the Black Cat. The story under the title Black Cat, and the writer is Edgar Allan Poe. For the most wild yet most homely narrative which I am about to pen, I neither expect nor solicit belief. So he is going what the narrator starts talking about which I. He used this pronoun I am, I neither. So from the beginning he is the first person narrator. This means what? He is narrator and character at the same time. Also, what we understand from those two sentences, that he is going to tell us homely narrative, yani something story related to his own life, that occur in his own home. But also said, I neither expect nor solicit belief. Yani I don't expect that their reader or listener to me are going to believe me, because it is unbelievable. Mad indeed what I be to expect it. So I will consider everyone who believe me as a mad. Only mad people who are going to believe me. So what kind of a story this is? Yes, that is complete reading. Mad indeed would I be to expect it in a case where my very sense reject their own evidence. Yeah, mad am I not. And very surely do I not dream, but tomorrow I die. And to die I would unburden my soul. My immediate purpose is to place before the world plainly, succinctly, and without comment a series of mere household events. In their sequences, these events have terrified, have tortured, have destroyed me. So let us stop here and comment certain things, that what he predicts, that he is going to die. Tomorrow he is going to die. He is going to tell us some certain household events that occur in his home, and they are unbelievable. There is no evidence for them, and no one could believe them. So from the beginning I say that the first person narrator, he is the narrator and character at the same time, and he is the center of the events. He is the focus of the events. That's why we pay more attention for this person, his speech and his behavior. Okay, now what he predicts, what he said, that I'm going to die tomorrow. Yet I will not attempt to explain them. To me, they have presented little but horror. To many they will seem less trouble than miracles. Hereafter, perhaps some intellect may be found which will reduce my phantasm to the commonplace. This means what? He is going to explain a story that full with horror, that is going to make me lose my mind. But he tried to reduce his mind and his logic, and he is going to explain it in a rather convincing way in order to be believable. What he is going to tell us. Look to this story. I detailed with nothing more than an ordinary succession of very natural causes and effects. Yani he is going to tell us a story that are connecting between the cause and the effects in order to be believable. So from the first paragraph, this narrator filled with contradictions. Yani he at the beginning said, I'm going to tell you a story that is unbelievable, and in the same paragraph at the end of it, no, he said that I'm going to say something more logical to make things, to connect the reasons and the results, the causes and the effects, in order to be logic, in order to be reasonable or believable. So he is from the beginning, the narrator from the beginning, he is full with contradiction. Sometimes I said, tell you a story that impossible to believe me. I will consider you as a mad if you believe me. And then at the end of the same paragraph, he said, I'm going to make the story believable and logical. So what is his story? From in my infancy. So he is going to tell us his story from his childhood. Yes, I was noted for the docility and humanity of my disposition. My tenderness of heart was even so conscientious as to make me the jest of my companions. I was especially fond of animals, and was endorsed by my parents with a great variety of beasts. With this I spent most of my time, and never was so happy as when I feel in carelessness. This. So what he is going? What is the problem in this? Now the second paragraph, in the middle of the second paragraph, he tells us his story of his childhood. When he is a child, he is protected by his family, not to be companion with friends, with human beings. Only it brought animals for him to be his friends. So he has a lot of friends, but they are animals, not human beings. And if he has friends, so he is going to behave in a strange way with them. Of course, يعني when you grow up a child in this way, he is going to be a strange for people in his behavior, of course. يعني, and most of his friends, if they are human, they are going to laugh on him because he has certain strange behaviors. So this is his first problem, that his parents grow him in this way. He is isolated from others, and what? From human beings, I mean, and he is associated by animals. This is one thing. And what he said, this peculiarity of character grew with my growth. Now in my manhood, now he is become adult, he is man, but this point is grow up with him, this thing grow up with him, that he love animals. I derived from it one of my principal sources of pleasure. To those who have cherished an affection for a faithful and sagacious dog, I need hardly be at the trouble of explaining the explaining hardly to be at the trouble of explaining the nature or intensity of the gratification thus derivable. There is something in the unselfish and self-sacrificing love. So he is talking about his treatment with the animal, the love between this character and his animal. There is difference between selfish and unselfish love. So he is focusing on this point. He grew up with those animals, and he found on them directly to the heart of him who has had frequent occasions to test the patrie friendship and gosma fidelity of man. Now this is the second state in his life, the manhood. Look to this paragraph I married early. So now he is going to talk about his life when he get married. There is a woman entered to his life, and this woman is going to meet his friend, the animals. Yes, and was happy to find in my wife a disposition not uncongenial with my own. Observing my partiality for domestic beasts, she lost no opportunity of procuring those of those agreeable kinds. We had bird, goldfish, fine dog, rabbits, small monkey, and a cat. So this is the third stage in his life, that he get married, and his wife love also. She is kind with those animals, and she loved them like him. She never objects this point that his friends, most of his friends are animals. Look here, we have to the animals that he had: birds, goldfish, fine dog, rabbit, small monkey, and a cat. Any grammar, let me talk about the grammar now. In grammar, if we have many items, more than 2 items, 3 or more than 3, we numbered them, we arranged them, and before the end, before the last element, we put the word and to say what, that this element, the last element, is the most important element. It is something different from Arabic grammar. In Arabic grammar, the most important element, you put it at the beginning. In English, no, you put it at the end and preceded by the word and. That's why when he mentioned the animals for us, he put the cat at the end to say for us that this cat is the most important animals between his group. Okay, a cat. This later, so this paragraph is going to focus on this last element. This later, he means the cat, was a remarkable large. So he is going to focus on the cat. He is going to explain it for us, its external feature and its inner feature, because it is very important. Animals for him, it is very important actually character in this story. And the cat, I want you to put in your mind, students, it is not the first time we meet cat as a character in the story. In a previous lecture, Cat in the Rain, also we have a cat. But from now on, I want you students to make comparison between this cat and the cat in the Cat in the Rain. Okay? This later was remarkable large, a beautiful animal, entry black, sagacious to an astonishing degree. بس خلينا نوقف هنا. It is large and black, and he described it as a beautiful. يعني normally cat, in order to be beautiful, is supposed to be white, small, but here it is large and entirely black. Completely, it is completely black, sagacious to astonishing degree. So why it is beautiful? It is beautiful for him because he had this relation with the cat. He loved this animal. It is different for him from us. Yani it is, we are an ordinary people. That's why we not love or we don't like such an animal, especially if it is a dog. I don't know. I talk about myself. I don't know you whether you like the black cat or not. But this narrator, this character, like his black, large, sagacious cat. In speaking of his intelligence, so he's going to talk about the intelligence of this animal. My wife, who at heart was not little tinctured with civilization, made a frequent allusion to ancient popular notion. What is the wrong with this cat concerning his relation with his wife? His wife loved all the animals except the cat. Why? Because she connect this animal with superstition, with magic, with allusion to the ancient popular nation. She connect this cat, the black cat, especially old or large black cat, with what? With evil, with magic. So this is his wife. So this is the point, that his wife loved all the animals except the cat, while this man, this cat is the most dearest one, is the most lovable one in his group of the animals. So this is the problem. We're supposed to focus on it, that his woman, the wife, never loved this cat because she's afraid of it, and it is a normal thing. We most of us afraid of the large black cat. Now that she was never serious upon his point, and I mentioned the matter at all, no better reason that it happened just now to be remembered. Now what he said, to be remembered, he want the reader to remember this point. Look to the way of narration. The narrator talked directly to the reader. He wants you to remember this point, that his woman love the animals, but not this cat. She don't like it so much. She don't hate it, but she don't like it so much because of its features, because of its external form. Blotto. This was the cat's name. طبعا the name is Blotto, and there is a symbolic name. Blotto is connected with something in Roma, connected with death, god of war, god of death, killing. So the name is symbolic. The name is important. He give this name for the cat because it's something. This is foreshadowing element. We call it in literature, and we explain the meaning of foreshadowing element in a previous lecture. Check it, please. foreshadowing element, because it's something to happen in the story. Death, killing, dangerous. So that's why he give the character give this name to his cat name. My favorite beat and playmate. He now focusing on his emotion towards this cat. It is completely different from his the emotion of his wife towards this animal. I alone with him and attended my wherever I went about the house. It was even with difficulty that I could prevent him from following me through the street. Look to this relation, and students, this is important. This paragraph is important because we are going to return to comment on it next lecture. What Pluto, look to this relation of this animal with this man. This animal followed him everywhere. Wherever he go, he found Pluto beside him. There is difficulty to stop or prevent him from following him through the streets, through the home, in the rooms. So there is a close connection between Pluto and the man. This man. Up to now, we don't know the names of the man or his wife. Only Pluto. We know the name of Pluto, and we talk about the significance or the symbolic meaning of Pluto. Friendship. Our friendship lasted in this manner and for several years, during which my general temperament and character through instrumentally of the fine intemperance had, I blush to confess it, experienced to radical alteration for worse. I grow day by day more moody, more irritable, more regardless of the feeling of others. I suffer myself to use intemperate language to my wife. At length, I even offered her personal violence. My deed, of course. Now he is talking about his friendship goes in this way between Pluto and this man, but he talk about he himself. The problem is with himself, that he get older and older. He become more moody, more irritable, regardless of never care by the feelings of other. He is always angry. He know that these points in himself. He diagnosed those errors in his personality, but he couldn't heal them or correct them. Why? Because this is his problem. He is suffering from mental health, suffering from psychological defect in his personality, that he himself suffer from certain psychological defect in his character that make him always moody, always angry against others, never care by the feeling of his people around him, and he use bad language even with his wife. So this is called violence. It is a verbal violence. Yani when you use harsh language, bad words in your treatment with others, this is we call violence. And up to now we have the verbal one, verbal violence. It is only in language, not a physical one. My beat, of course, his animals. Now look to his reaction when he become older in the age. Look to his treatment with his animals. My beats, of course, were made to feel the change in my disposition. I not only neglect but all use them for Pluto. However, I still retain sufficient regard to restrain me from maltreating him, as I made no scruple of maltreating the rabbits, the monkey, or even dog, when by accident or through affection they came in. He always went to make control on his mind, especially in his treatment with his animals. But his case became worse than before, especially with appearing of a new disease in his life. What kind of disease? It is alcohol. But my disease grew up upon me. For what disease is like? Alcohol. At length, even Pluto, who was now become old and consequently somewhat bevish, even Pluto began to experience the effect of my ill temper. Now, this is another problem that the narrator or this character is suffering from. It is alcoholism and mental statement. So up to now we have those two features, that two problems that the narrator suffering from. When I say narrator, I mean the major character, the protagonist himself. So he is suffering from alcoholism, he is suffering from mental statement. Now this writer went to focus on those 2 points. Alcoholism, it is a big problem that people, especially young people, suffering from. Then he want to draw our attention to the danger of alcoholism. What bad effects may or brought to your mind. It is going to make man lose his mind and lose his control on his behavior. This is the alcoholism. What about mental disease? Mental disease or psychological defect, it is similar to any other defect, similar to any other disease in your body. You're supposed to heal it, you're supposed to fix it with a doctor, with psychologist. It is not a shame, and most of the people feel shame to talk about these things. No, we all need to be honest with ourselves. If there is a problem in our mental state, we're supposed to heal it or fix it with what? With to see a psychologist. This is not a thing, it is not a crime, it is not a shame. It is something, it is a sick. It is a disease similar to other disease. And we're supposed to change our view relating to this point. One night, what happened? This what happened in the story. That's why I highlight all this paragraph, because most of it is important. One night, returning home much intoxicated from one of my hunts about town, I found that the cat avoided my presence. I seized him, when in his fright at my violence he inflicted a slight wound upon my hand with his teeth. The fury of a demon instantly possessed me. I know myself no longer. My original soul seems at once to take its flight from my body at more than fiendish malevolence generated throughout every fiber of my frame. I took from my waistcoat pocket a penknife, opened it, grasped the doorpost by the throat, and deliberately cut one of its eyes from the sockets. I blush, I pant, I shudder, while I burn the demand atrocity. Focus on this paragraph, please. What happened? Now this man is completely dominated by his madness. Now he become angry. He himself does not know himself. What happened? The cat escaping from it, but he catch it, close the door, bring knife, and what? We can say that he lose his mind. He cut one of the cat eyes. He tried to torture it. He never, he don't want to kill it, but he torture it in a very devilish way. It is a very terrified way. So we can say that this story is what is a gothic story, because there is a killing, there is a horror, terror, there is dark atmosphere. Even the language that he used, it is a difficult language, dark language, filled with the adjectives that are associated with killing only. And he is suffering from mental state of mind. And here, look to his reaction when he cut the eyes of his cat. I blush, I burn, I shuddered. He feel what? He feel that it is something. He is afraid what he he does not justify what he did. He said, I don't know myself in this moment. When he did this, look to this reaction: blush, burn, I shudder. So he feel afraid. Well, I been the demon atrocity. Directly when he commit this devilish action, said what? When reason returned with the morning, and he commit this in the evening. In the morning, here reasons mean what? His mind, means logic. In the previous paragraph, he lost his mind. He behaved as if he is without mind. He is crazy. Now, the reason, the mind returned to him in the morning. So all his behavior that indicate that he is not normal person, because directly in the morning he woke up as if nothing is happened. and ordinarily. When reason returned with morning, when I had slept of the films of the night devoid, I experienced sentiment, half of horror, half of remorse, for a crime of which I had been guilty, but it was at least feeble and equivocal feeling, and the lost mind untouched, I again plunged into excess, and soon drowned in wine all memory of the dead. So he experienced what? It is a horror, it is a crime, and he feels that he is guilty. Up till now, he feels that he is guilty. If we talk about the crime, students, let's stop at this word. The crime, in the words of literature, we're supposed to explain it in a highly philosophical way. Crime, supposed to have a crime, we have a four stage. Committing crime, yes, the narrator now commit the crime. He cut one of the eyes of his cat. What? And feel sorry, feel guilty. Yes, it is some sort of inner struggle. That when after committing a crime, he feel sorry, he feel guilty. The third stage is what? Is to present what is called this third state is called what? Purification or purgation, sorry. Means يعني what? Means that the victim or the criminal himself feels sorry, commit the crime, then feels sorry, then he is going to what? To try to correct what he commits. Purification means التنقية. Try to repent. يتوب. التوبة. It is a state of what is called in or repentance. التوبة. So now we are in the third stage. In the first stage, commit the crime. The second stage, feeling sorry, or to search for that you are feel guilty, that you commit mistake, that you feel sorry for committing the mistake. That stage is what? Purgation or repentance. التوبة. The last stage is what? The last stage is presenting a sacrifice or atonement. القربان. يعني in Arabic crime ارتكاب الذنب, الشعور بالذنب, البحث عن what I say, let me explain it in other, يعني البحث عن التوبة أو الشعور بالتوبة أو البحث عن تطهير الروح. Finally تقديم القربان, to ask the salvation. يعني the last way to achieve the salvation from your crime, you're supposed to pass through those ways: committing the crime, asking for feeling the sorry, searching for the purification or purgation, to clean yourself, I mean, presenting sacrifice or presenting atonement, al-Qurban. Then you are going to reach to the salvation. You are going to be free from your crime. Look to this person. Now he commit the crime. He feels sorry, but he quickly never moved to the third stage. He quickly returned to his ordinary life. That he never searched for a purgation. That he never he never represent any sacrifice or any atonement related to his crime. No, he only feels sorry for in the night, saw dreams, and woke up in the morning, and everything is ordinary for him. Never never represent any atonement, never search for purification or cleaning his soul from his crime, because he thought that this is an ordinary thing. So here this point of the crime and salvation is important, because we are going to meet the same point but in another story. This person, the narrator, commit the crime but never seek for his salvation, never present atonement instead of his crime. He feels sorry, but feels sorry for a short time and forget everything. When he woke up in an ordinary way and complete his life. Well, look to this last, and soon drowned in the wine all memory on the dead. Anything go in the wine. that he never remember everything. Okay, what here he is going to talk about so many his always his what his he is going to talk about his reaction in the meantime. The cat slowly recovered and the socket of the last eyes presented. It is true, a frightful appearance. So even the cat is healed or recovered and returned to her normal life. And this man never mentioned this story again. He went, I have so much of my whole heart left as to be first grieved by his evidence dislike on the part of the creature which had once so loved me. But this feeling soon gave a place to irritation, and then came as if to my final and irrevocable overthrow, the spirit of perverseness. Look, even the writer make this word in a capital way, all the letters of this word in capital, to say that this thing is important. He wanted to explain, to justify his what he commit to the spirit of perverseness, as if it is something normal, that it is because of the perverseness, because of my mental state, I commit this crime. So in this way, what do you think, student? In this way, is the narrator, is the major character in this story, is victim or criminal? Now he himself said that I am a victim. I am a victim of my mental state. I am a victim of alcoholism, because I suffer from those problems that because I suffer from those problems, I commit this. I try to harm this my cat. Even he don't say crime again. Only when he commits the crime, he say it is a crime. Then he never mentioned this word again. He said no, it is because of the spirit of perverseness. Because of what? Because of the destruction of all the morality in my life, in my soul. Everything is destroyed in my personality. That's why I committed. He said what? That I am not a criminal. I am victim. Also like this cat, I am victim. Yes, he tried to do everything to the reason of perverseness. And the perverseness is what? He defined the perverseness for us is one of the primitive impulses of the human heart. So this man is driven by primitive impulses, نزعات بدائية. Or let me say it is what? It is الرغبات البدائية that is in the soul, in his personality. So this man is dominated by such impulses, such primitive impulses of the human heart. One of the indivisible to primary faculties or sentiment which gave direction to the character of man. So this man, the narrator, explained this thing in a highly scientist way. In psychologist, the psychologist, this is in psychology, what is the perverseness? It is one of the primitive impulses of the human heart, one of the indivisible primary faculties or sentiment which gave direction to the character of man. This, if you make them primitive impulses, make them control your behavior, they are going to affect your personality, your character. So this man make those impulses dominating his life. So this man is controlled by primitive impulses, by primitive instincts. He is controlled by those kind of what we call al-ghara'is. He is not dominated by his mind. So now let us talk about certain things in psychology. Now, this part of the story, he himself explained it's a theory in psychology. Psychology that we divide the mentality of mind to conscious and unconscious part. What do you find in conscious part? It is one percentage, and let me say that I divided the mentality into three parts. The first part we call it conscious part. What about the last second part? They are unconscious part. The conscious part, what do you find? That you find logic, reasons, your aims that you want to achieve, your plan you want to achieve in this life, your present life, or what you live in your actual life. This is unconscious side. What about the unconscious? The last two part of your mentality is called unconscious side. It is what do you find? The forbidden dreams, the forbidden wishes, the thing that you are not allowed to achieve, the thing that they are forbidden by society, by family, by religion. All these things, they are not disappeared from your mentality. No, they are kept in the unconscious side. And also in the unconscious side there is impulses, or there is instinct, al-gharaiz. So this man, because there is a defect, because there is psychological defect in his life, that he is dominated by the unconscious side, by those primitive impulses or primitive instincts. That's why his behavior is not normal behavior. That's why he is commit a crime against his dear friend Pluto. And there is no logical reason, but this is the reason, because of the perverseness, because he is dominated by what? By the unconscious side. And and he explained through all this paragraph the meaning of this action, and why, and what is the perverseness. And I was committing a sin, deadly sin, that what so jeopardize my immortal soul as to place it, if such thing were possible, even beyond reach of infinite mercy of the most merciful, most terrible God. So he declared that he commit a sin. His crime now is a sin. So again, if I repeat what I said before this time, with sin, with the idea of sin and the crime, we have four stages: committing the sin or crime, feeling sorry, searching to purification or to cleaning yourself, and presenting what? Fourth stage, presenting atonement or sacrifice, sacrification, التضحية أو القربان, in order to what? In order to correct what you commit, in order to make God forgive you, and then reach to the salvation. God forgive you. But our narrator here is not just feel sorry in the night and wake up in the morning, forget everything, and explain it in a scientific way why he commit this sin, why he commit this crime, because of the spirit of perverseness. Okay, and he explained why, and he said that even God, he could not forgive for me. So I want to stop here, students, and I leave the second part of this story to another lecture. And let us stop here. He cut the eye of the cat, and I say that eye is symbol. I want you, students, to tell me why the eye is symbol and what is refers to. Also, I said what no, this is next lecture. The narrator. The narrator is full with contradiction. He is contradictory character. He is suffering from mental state of mind. He is suffering from alcoholism. Also, the name of Pluto is a symbolic, and I explain it why it is symbolic. It is foreshadowing note. It is alludes to the death of his wife, because at the end he is going to kill his wife. Okay, violence scene. Yes, we have violence. We have verbal violence and physical violence. Verbal violence against his woman, against his wife. He used bad language with her. Physical one with the cat, with Pluto, when he cut its eye. We have symbolism, of course. We have symbolism of the cat, symbolism of the name, symbolism of the eyes, symbolism of so many things. Evil inside man we commit. Also about the evil inside man. Why this man commit his suicide? Commit his evil action. In this point, the last point, we are going to discuss it throughout the lecture. Why this man, this narrator, commit this evil against the cat. Is the evil inside man because of what? Because of the inherent, or because of his society, or because of what? We discussed this point in other stories. You remember the doll's house? We explained the concept of evil inside the characters. Now we have this character, there is an evil inside him. It tries students to analyze the source of this evil. Okay, also we talk about the conscious and unconscious part of the mentality of a human beings, and we try to justify his crime. We talk about the crime and why how he explained, how he justified the crime in terms of psychology, in terms of psychological theories, that because of the vastness. So students, this is an important lecture. Focus on it, read about it, because it is not an easy one. The genre is a gothic, that's why it is not an easy, that's why it requires a lot of reading. Read this file, listen to the audio, focus on the points that I ask you to search about them. Thank you very much, and we are going to meet you in the lecture. Thank you very much.